Welcome back, and starting the first segment of the breakfast show with the press review, and we are joined in the studio by Mr. Mohamed Sheta, media expert. Hello, sir, and welcome to our show.
Beautiful good morning to you and to all your viewers.
Thank you very much. And we will go start with Al Ahram newspaper, where we read President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received on Tuesday at the Ittihadiyya Palace the French foreign minister, the French defense minister, to discuss strengthening coordination to face common threats. El-Sisi reportedly gave the French minister the Order of Merit during the meeting. The meeting also tackled means of boosting cooperation in combating terrorism. So we're going to comment on the first news from the headline from
Well, actually, there's not much to comment about. It just shows, actually, it's a clear message to all the other international partners of Egypt that that the Egyptian government has lots of respect and a very strong relationship to France, and that they appreciated very much the position they had from the very beginning since the 30th of June 2013, and over the past couple of years, it showed how strong the relationship was between France and Egypt. President Hollande himself visited Egypt with a huge delegation. There were lots of bilateral visits between Egypt and France during the last couple of years, and despite the tragic incident of the Egypt Air flight, which was on its way from Paris to Cairo, this was not, even if there were lots of people trying to create a crisis between France and Egypt, this did not happen. So I think this is just a signal from President Sisi how much he appreciates the position of France with Egypt over the past couple of years.
Okay, and moving to Al Ahram Akhbar al-Yom newspaper, where German ambassador to Egypt said that on Tuesday that illegal migration and resumption of German NGOs operating in civil society in Egypt will be on the table for discussion between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Chancellor Angela Merkel. In a press conference ahead of Merkel's visit to Cairo since 2007, the German ambassador said that illegal migration and the issue of combating terrorism would be among the key points in discussion, adding that Germany provides support to Egypt in fighting terrorism, whether on the international or domestic level. I remember last time when you said you hope that they will not discuss the migration issue when they come to Egypt, but actually they are coming to discuss the illegal migration.
You're absolutely right. Actually, I think this is on their top agenda, and as you recalled correctly, I said last time that probably she's coming in order to discuss a solution for the refugee crisis which Angela Merkel has in Germany these days. This refugee crisis and her refugee policies, although they were quite good for the refugees, of course, but this has created her lots of internal problems. This is why Martin Schulz, the candidate, the new chancellor candidate for the upcoming elections on the 24th of September, has even surpassed her in the polls and the surveys during the last couple of weeks. So if the elections would take place tomorrow, it would be Martin Schulz from the SPD, from the Social Democratic Party, which would win the election. And it is quite apparent, and it's quite possible that he will become the next chancellor of Germany on the 24th of September. So probably Angela Merkel just wants to put a last signal, or just put a last focus on the current refugee crisis and try to find solutions before she might leave the office. And actually, this is also one of the reasons that if she finds a good solution for the refugee crisis, I mean, they're discussing...
What kind of solution?
Actually, what they want is they want to have refugee camps in some of the North African states in order to resend and return the refugees, the African refugees or any refugees who come to Europe, back to those refugee camps, which would be in safe areas like in Egypt or in Tunisia, for example, or in Morocco. So this is one of their main aims, actually. And I think, and the other thing is, of course, talking about the German NGOs, which their activity has been stopped in Egypt during the past couple of years. So I think this is actually two of their main topics, and even the article was saying that those are the two main issues which Angela Merkel will be discussing. The headline said it's a breakthrough in the German bilateral relations, according to the German ambassador. I don't really consider this a breakthrough, actually. I think a breakthrough would be something completely different. I think they're looking for their benefits, for their internal political benefits, and I think Egypt should also look for its benefits as well. One of the things which the German ambassador mentioned during his press conference, which he gave to some of the media in Egypt, is that Angela Merkel and President Sisi will inaugurate the phase of the Siemens mega project, which will build 3 new power plants in Egypt. Actually, this is for the benefit of the German economy more than it is for the Egyptian economy. Of course, the Egyptian economy will benefit from it, because if you have no electricity problems, then this is, of course, a very unique selling point for the foreign investors. Nevertheless, I think we should have a more direct investors and investment from Germany, and I think this is what we're lacking. I mean, we have a few very renowned automotive brands, for example, which came to Egypt, German automotive brands, which came to Egypt during the past couple of years, and they established 2 assembly factories in Egypt. But this is not enough, because one of them closed, actually, and the other one is just assembling like 1,000 cars a year or something. So it's nothing really significant. So and I think, of course, most of the German investors, of course, the automotive industry in Germany is the leading industrial sector in Germany. So most of their investments is actually taking place in Slovakia, in Romania, in Bulgaria, in all the former Eastern European countries, and I think we need to do a lot, and we should do a lot of convincing, actually, for the German companies to come to Egypt. Another very important.
Anyhow, we'll wait and see what this kind of meeting will end up with, and we'll see the outcome.
Yes, but one last thing is one of the important things is the German tourism to Egypt, and actually, I think this was not mentioned in the article at all, and I hope that they discussed this in the press conference. It seems that
their main priorities are the NGOs and, of course, the illegal migration. And we're going to move to Al Ahram, a newspaper, where we meet for Mr. Sameh Shukri met with the newly appointed U.S. National Security Advisor on Tuesday in Washington. He is an M.O. Master, an Army Lieutenant General, was appointed by President Donald Trump last week after previous National Security Advisor, the Michael Flynn, resigned. The pair discussed bilateral issues, and McMaster expressed Washington's keenness on enhancing cooperation with Egypt at all levels, affirming that the new administration of Donald Trump is determined to work on mutual priorities and protecting the interest of both countries. What is the importance of such a meeting, and how it's going to benefit Egypt?
Well, I think it's, of course, Foreign Minister Shukri is testing the waters in Washington. Of course, Donald Trump has been talking quite positive about Egypt during the past couple of weeks, actually, not months. And I think both administration, the U.S. administration as well as the Egyptian administration, is also looking forward to a meeting between President Donald Trump and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. I think of course, again, like in the case of Germany, the United States is also looking for its own benefit. They want to have a solution also for the terrorist problems which are facing not only the Middle Eastern region, but also have a direct impact on the United States. And of course, I think what they will be discussing is also the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. It has been, he has been mentioning Israel a couple of times in his various speeches over the past couple of days, and I think what he said was not very supportive for a two-state solution. So I think President Sisi, of course, probably President Sisi discussed this with the Jordanian King Abdullah when he was in Cairo a couple of days ago, and I think they will be discussing how to take this matter on with the United States in order to keep Netanyahu on the table and keep him with reasonable ideas on the table as well.
Okay, and moving to Al-Ahram newspaper, where we read the Defense Minister Sidi Subhi met with his French counterpart on Tuesday, and they both discussed bilateral cooperation in military fields. And this is another meeting with a French figure concerning, of course, military cooperation.
Yes, I read that the French defense minister actually arrived in Aswan from France on Tuesday. So not only will they be talking about military things, but also this is a positive side effect that he went to Aswan actually. And I think it's very important to hold such meetings not only in Cairo but maybe in different cities of Egypt, not always Sharm el-Sheikh. I mean, Sharm el-Sheikh is already well known all over the world. So I think it's quite good if such international meetings and such important meetings would also take place in other cities of Egypt. Back to the subject itself. Of course, this shows the very strong ties between Egypt and France, and I think this will develop, and probably France will probably have the strongest military ties, maybe even stronger than the ties which we have with Russia currently over the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm. And moving to Al-Akhbar Al-Yawm newspaper, where we read the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, spoke at the international conference yesterday about how to fight terrorism and to collaborate with institutions, of course the religious one in the East and the West, to fight terrorism. And also the conference was headed by the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmad Al-Tayyib, and also the Pope Tawadros II. And Mr. Mohammed, how do you see the importance of such a conference that took place yesterday regarding fighting terrorism? And fighting terrorism need conferences or need other measures to be taken?
Well, conferences are very good for raising the awareness about the roots of the problem, and I think it's very important to fight Islamophobia. It's now extremely widespread all over Europe and also in the United States, of course. We hear about so many incidents on planes, for example, in the United States, where people talk in Arabic and then they're thrown out of the plane, and also in the trend which we see in the nationalism trend, which we have seen now in the United States. We also see the right-wing propaganda-oriented politicians. We saw them rising in Austria, in Holland, in France. So
in the United States?
Of course, in the United States. It started actually with the United States, and this encouraged a lot of politicians in Europe actually to take the same the same trend and direction, because actually they saw it was very successful with Donald Trump. So this is
actually it's not that successful. He's being criticized on a daily basis.
No. I mean successful in being elected. So Marine Le Pen in France, for example, is taking the same direction. And she's very aggressive. Even when she was in Lebanon a few days ago, she refused to meet the Imam of Beirut because she was asked to wear a hair scarf. and this shows that she is not even she doesn't have that kind of tolerance towards other religions. And of course we are expecting to see the same in Holland as well. In Austria, the trend was very clear that a right-wing politician was very close to win the presidential elections recently. So this is extremely important to really show the world what Islam is really all about. Islam has been, the religion of Islam has been, of course, abused by many terrorist groups. And it has, meanwhile, it has a very bad reputation, especially in the Western countries. So I hope that such countries, such conferences not only take place in Egypt or in the Middle Eastern world, where we talk to ourselves, but it's very important to have such conferences around the world in order to talk to the other people and raise the awareness there as well.
Moving to Al-Wafd newspaper, where the benchmark Egypt's 30 index of the Egyptian exchange fell at Tuesday's close by 0.72% or 86.26 points to the level of 11,937.67 points, its lowest level in 100 days. And the Egypt 70 index dropped 0.65%, and the Egypt 100 index declined 0.50%, and the Egypt 50 index shrank 1.28% points. I have only 50 seconds.
50 seconds, okay, I'll make it very quick. Very poor and modest performance, of course. And
last 4 days especially.
Sorry?
The last 4 days.
Yes. And this is, of course, a trend because this is a trend which takes place over several weeks and months. And of course, the investors are not very happy with how slow the government is taking measures in order to boost the economy. I was surprised that we didn't get a new Minister of Trade during the last small cabinet reshuffle. Hopefully this will change during the next couple of weeks. We need, of course, some very important incentives in order to attract foreign investors, and also for encouraging the local investors to have more competition in order to go down with the prices in all the different sectors, and this will definitely boost the economy much more.
Well, Mr. Mohamed Sheta, Media Expert, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome once again to Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
And by this we come to the end of the first segment of Breakfast Show, the press review, and we have more to come after this break, so please stay tuned.